Start your week smiling with your friends, Kathy Zant and Michelle Frechette. It's time to get ready for some weekly motivation with WP Motivate. Happy Monday, Kathy.
It is Monday.
You know,
I'm usually happier on Fridays. Like, what am I doing? Like Monday, and I just came off a word. I am kind of a little aglow from just hanging out with everybody in Washington, D.C. and the Smithsonian party. That was epic. And National Harbor, which was, I'm like, I had no idea. National Harbor. It's National Harbor. I had no idea how quaint this little area and how beautiful the Gaylord was. The organizers really knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I was an organizer, so I'll say thank you. But also, I didn't do all of that. So, absolute mad props to the organizing team. It was absolutely a Herculean effort. And we all contributed to the success of both the community summit, which I was part of, Contributor Day, and the 2-day WordCamp itself as well. Pretty cool stuff.
So many days. You were there like all week.
I got to get there last Monday, drove down, and then drove home yesterday on Sunday. So it's why my voice sounds a little different than usual too, because 5 days of talking over crowds and dry, air-conditioned hotel rooms and all of that. So yeah.
Yeah,
I'd like to say
to you.
I'd like to say I did it singing karaoke, but nope, I did not have the voice for karaoke this weekend. Not at all.
Oh, too funny. Yeah, I didn't lose my voice, but I know a few people who did. A lot of the folks in the sponsor area and everything. It was very, very cool. Sponsor area was like on a different planet from where the sessions were. That was a long walk. But other than that, I mean, it was a beautiful walk, and that venue was just gorgeous.
It really was amazing.
So
nice. The elevator banks got a little confusing after a while, but or at the beginning, but then you figured out like which elevators went to which floor, where to get off for certain things. By the end of 5 or 6 days, I had it down. Just in time to leave.
Yeah. Amazing. And the Pride Party was pretty cool too. I heard, I had to leave at like 9:30. I mean, I know when I turn into a pumpkin. So I left, but I heard the next morning that it was actually at capacity at one point.
It was amazing.
Wow.
We had some drag queens who were phenomenal. I actually worked the door for the first hour, so I didn't get up there when it first opened, right? So I get up there, and my daughter had come in for WordCamp and was attending the Pride Party. And when I kind of rolled into the main area, Lydia was talking to 2 drag queens, and I was like, oh, first of all, these are tall people without their heels on. And then they put those heels on, and those queens were like, I swear to God, 9 feet tall. And I realized that as a short person in a seated position, they weren't really 9 feet tall, but they were very tall. And so I kind of looked over to where Lydia was. They were tall to you, right? You're a tall woman.
I'm a tall person. And yes, they were intimidatingly tall, like from another planet kind of tall.
Yes.
They were.
So
and they were dancing, flying around the room like they were dominating the space. It was amazing.
It really was. It really was. I looked over to Lydia, and Lydia pointed over to me and said to them that I was her mother. And so the 2 of them came over and started talking to me about, we heard such good things about you and all of this. And then one said, hey, can we get a selfie with you? And I was like, they're asking to selfie. So I obliged, of course, and handed my camera to somebody else too to get a picture with them. And then a little while later, I said to Lydia, I said, what did you tell them about me? And she's like, oh, I told them you helped me make a website, for my DJ business, etc. I go, well, I was wondering why they wanted to take a selfie with me. She goes, they wanted to take a selfie with you? I thought you were the one that asked for the selfie with them. I'm like, oh, child. It was fun. It was fun. It really was. Couldn't talk.
How cool
I had no voice,
that?
but it was so fun. Absolutely.
Yeah, that was so much fun. Wow. But by the end of day 2, I had to go take a nap. How embarrassing is that? I took a nap on Saturday afternoon. I was like, well, I wanted to go to the Smithsonian, and I didn't want to go to the Smithsonian tired. So I went and took a nap. and then I had a good dinner, and then went to the Smithsonian, and it was so short. The Smithsonian did not last very long, and I was awake for it. I was ready. But it was beautiful. So
I had to work
gorgeous.
an hour at the door at that event too. So every event, I swear I lost an hour to work in the door, but that's okay. I got to see people come and go, and that was fun too. That was
Yeah,
cool.
that's so cool. The one thing that gets me with all of these events is I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I'll catch up with you in a bit. And then I never see them again. Like, because I'm in the middle of this conversation over here. Yeah, we'll be right with you. Oh gosh, I never saw you again. Were you still here? And then people, it was so, I felt really bad because there were a few people I really wanted to catch up with and I never got a chance to. Or I'd be in the midst of a conversation out of the corner of my eye. Oh, there's Robert. I really want to say I haven't talked to him, and that happened like 3 times with some people. And I'm like, how did, and I feel bad.
I hear you. I understand. There's almost 2,000 people there. You couldn't see everybody. That's for sure. I tried. I know it couldn't be done.
Yeah, I
But it was
tried to,
awesome.
and it was amazing. And the sponsors, I'm still super excited about my jetpack battery thing. They customized these. So I got mine,
Amazing.
and it says Zantastic,
I haven't
which I
even
think is
unpacked
hilarious.
yet. And all my swag and my clothes and everything are just thrown into my suitcase. So I have to do a little weeding and sorting. But mine says
Yeah,
WP Wonder Woman on it. So I'm excited about that too.
that is so amazing. So
Very
perfect.
fun.
That's so
Very,
fun.
very fun.
Yeah, Jetpack and WooCommerce had those Nalgene bottles that were just
Oh, I
gorgeous.
got
So I got
one.
one
They
of
were
those.
amazing.
And then
Yeah.
I can't remember. I think it was maybe Jess Freck was like, you've got to check out Gravity Forms t-shirts.
I
And
guess
I
they're
was
really
like,
soft.
she's like, feel them, feel them. Oh, yeah. So I've got
Ah, yeah.
it
Lydia
is
got
so
one.
nice. And I brought it over to Drew Griswold at the Stellar booth, and I'm like, feel this shirt. And he's like, oh, that's not and he knew exactly like the best, softest shirt that he's ever, because he does all the swag. He's like the
Yeah.
swag expert. He's like, that's not a Bella Cavness 3434 or something like that, right? And then he's looking at it and he's like, oh no, it can't be this either. And he's just like going through every shirt he knows. He's like, it's got to be a custom blah blah blah. And I'm just like, dude is epic with the swag. I can't keep up
That's
with this. I'm
awesome.
like, so
I
funny.
love it.
But
No,
they're
that's
very
great.
soft. Gravity Forms totally nailed it with their
They
swag and the
did.
t-shirts. I appreciate a good fine shirt.
Pretty good stuff. Yeah. And there were remote cars. I think it was
Yes,
A2
A2.
hosting had remote control
A2
cars.
hosting
And
had,
yeah, it's amazing. I don't think anybody looks at me and thinks, I bet she likes RC cars, because I'm not one of those. But my neighbor upstairs is the cutest little guy. And so he's 10 years old. And so I'm like, I can't wait for him to get home from his vacation. I'm gonna be like, hey little, it's his nickname, little, I got you a remote control car.
oh, that's the best.
It's gonna be fun to see his
Just the
face light up.
best.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
definitely.
sure.
Definitely. That's so
Yeah.
sweet. So cute. So much good stuff. So many good conversations. Um, the thing is like I've been a sponsor, I've been a speaker, I've been an attendee, I've been an organizer, and sitting in the hotel room, my daughter was doing something in Washington, D.C. by herself. Like, how cool am I as a mom that I'm like, okay, just be
Be
careful.
safe. Yeah.
She went and got her nails done. I was just like, go ahead. I'm just going to stay here and write while you're doing it. And I was
Yeah.
just like thinking about the event. And I'm like, I came just because it's WordCamp. I didn't have any like preconceived, I didn't have a thought about ROI. I didn't think about, oh my gosh, I hope my speech goes well. And I hope the room is good. And had no hopes. I had no expectations.
Yeah.
I just came. And it was cool thinking back on just like looking back over the event. Like, I couldn't have designed a better event for myself with the people that I was able to connect with the serendipitous meetings of new people, with people who came up to me that I didn't even know, but they said something like, I've been watching you do YouTube for a very long time and I've learned so much from you. Thank you.
I
What are you
love that.
doing now? Type of stuff. I got all that I needed. I really feel like it was just like this perfect gift from the universe of connections and reminders of who I am, what WordPress is, what this community is all about, and how important this community is to this project. I I got everything I needed, and it made me just more committed to helping more people do
Yeah.
really cool things with. I love Cadence.
I
I
know,
said
me
that so
too.
many times too. I love this product so much. It is so good. I love the way it just like empowers people, like how I can sit in a room with somebody who's never used Cadence before, never used WordPress before, and just like, okay, yeah, like here's how this works. And they just do it. And I want more of that for WordPress. So yeah,
Yeah.
it just reminded me what I'm here to do. How about you?
Yeah.
What did you get from the event?
The community summit for me was really part of the highlight because the rest of I'm running around as a sponsor. I'm running around trying to do podcasts and work for WP Constellations, which is part of Stellar WP. And it is an organizer. And so the summit, though, I got to just like sit in sessions that were conversations, anywhere from like 12 to 30 people, depending on whether people wanted to be part of that conversation. We talked about um, recognizing and giving props to people who do work in the WordPress community, especially on the open source project, specifically, is what I mean. We talked about
Yeah.
ways that we can promote DEIB within our different make teams and what that looks like and how we can encourage one another. And so the different sessions that I sat in for that, I felt like my voice was equal to others, which was awesome. And I
Yeah.
also got to hear from people that I don't hear from very often and hear their passion for the open source project as well. And so just the whole thing was just, I hate to use this word because it just sounds so trite, but it really was magical. It was really
Yeah.
amazing. I've never been to a summit before. It was my only one, and so it's the only thing I had to base any of my, you know, reactions to. But it was really good, really, really good.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Wow, that's so great to hear.
really was.
Very
And
cool.
drove down, drove back, which is kind of like it's a 6 hour drive, 7 hour drive with traffic, whatever. Really, if you're going to take an hour and a half flight, it's almost the amount of time you would put into getting to the airport, checking your luggage, waiting for your flight, getting there, et cetera, right? And then Ubering over.
Yeah.
So realistically, it really was about the same amount of travel. And got to talk to Jeff Betancourt a lot in the car because we drove down
Yeah.
together, and he's an amazing person too. And so, yeah, it just was
So
all
sweet.
so awesome. It really was. I wrote about in Big Orange Heart last night and posted it this morning about those post WordCamp experience feelings and how mixed emotions are okay, right? Like you can be so pumped up and so excited about everything that's happening in WordPress, and also really sad that it's over and we just had the experience and we're not on the mountaintop anymore. And so, yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
like the jumble of emotions in my head is it's pretty awesome, but also I need a nap myself. I'm
It
ordering
does take
dinner
a,
in.
yeah. 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 It took a lot out of me too. Just well, I think I'm out of practice too. For a
Yeah.
while I was like going to events like once a month and doing stuff, but over the past few years it's been less and less peopling and a
Yeah.
lot more onlining. And I don't know about you, but no matter what, I with the squares and big meetings and there's it's not the same. Oh, one of my favorite memories of so I went to the NASA talk and
Mhm.
then I went to the security talk. There was somebody from 10 Up who talked about securing WordPress. And there's a bunch of people in Facebook groups who talk security and talk about, the best way to secure WordPress sites and stuff. And like little vulnerabilities here and that kind of thing, and kind of struck up some friendships of people that are very into security, but I never really knew before. And over the past month or two, we've like struck up friendships, and we all ended up in the front row, in the same row, with one guy who's got an agency and he's got some sites on WP Engine. And so like we're all like, sharing notes on the security talk and everything. Can't do that in Slack or,
Right.
that just doesn't happen. And then I turned to the guy next to me and I'm like, oh, so how do you use WordPress? And he's like, well, I'm here because, my site keeps getting hacked. And I'm like, let me introduce you to the dream team. You have won the lottery, the WordPress security lottery at this table. Like,
Yeah.
here's one of the smartest security researchers, and here's somebody who secures like 6 million sites. And just, it was the funniest thing, just like
That's
how this
awesome.
all just serendipitously happened. Yes, security people are a little bit geeky. That's why DEF CON is, you go to Caesar's Palace and all the statues have googly eyes on them. It's like we're just kind of geeky dorks,
I
but
mean, but
that's what makes us fun.
WordPress, we're all geeky sorts at WordPress, right? Because we're all in tech, so we get each other.
Yeah.
That's a good.
Yes. Yes. And then the security people were just another subset of even more geeky. So it's
Yes,
like, but it was
exactly.
so much fun. Yeah, we just had so many serendipitous conversations and so many people that I like knew online. Like I've never really been much into like the Facebook groups, but because of Cadence's Facebook group that's really grown, I've been like, okay, I got to go check out what they're saying in here. Somebody will like drag me into a conversation. And now I'm in all these Facebook groups and meeting all these people I never knew before. They're not on Twitter, but there's tons of people. I always thought like WordPress is on Twitter, but no, they're on Facebook, and they're on Facebook in a huge way globally. Like I had no idea until like a few months
Yeah.
ago. So that's been kind of cool. So I met a lot of people in real life that I would have never met otherwise, thanks to
It's,
WordCamp. So
yeah, same. It's pretty cool. And I met one person, and this was an interesting. This has never happened before, is what I mean to say. I met somebody at the Smithsonian the last night who was standing next to somebody I do know. And I kind of rolled up to them. I used to say walked up, but it's so much funnier to say rolled up. I rolled up to them and said hello and shook the one person's hand that I didn't know before. And I said, have I met you before? You look familiar. And he says, no, but I've seen you at other word camps. I've always been intimidated to come and say hello. And I thought, I think of myself as like the least intimidating person in all of WordPress, right? But it doesn't matter if you're an introverted person, somebody who
yeah,
is really heavily involved in the community can feel intimidating. And we had a little conversation about just WordCamp and whatever. And I said, promise me that if you see me at a WordCamp again, you'll say hello. And they said,
yeah,
absolutely, I will. And so to me, like that was the nicest thing, right? To be able to show somebody that we're all the same. Some of us just are more prominent because of the work that we do or the position we're in. But realistically, it takes
yeah,
all of us and knowing people and knowing, who's part of the community and just say hi. Like, you know,
yeah.
we're all just
The
people.
Michelle and me thing, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool because that gives people a reason to come up and talk to you. I think
Yeah.
that's actually quite brilliant because then you're meeting people that maybe, but a lot of introverts are like, I don't want my picture, like,
Yeah. I
or
mean,
teenagers.
it's got both sides of it, right? So, but it
Yeah.
does. And we raised $2,450 just at this word camp. And at word camps this year, the four word
Wow.
camps I did this at this year, $5,500 raised. Some of it went to Big Orange Heart, and the
That's
rest of it is
amazing.
sponsoring underrepresented people, um, uh, speakers and organizers to word camps to help them attend. And I think it's just so important.
So amazing.
Good stuff.
Just, that's the best.
Yeah.
I love
So
it.
if you were at WordCamp US this week, and you feel like telling us what your experience was like, the good, the bad, or the ugly, we're happy to hear it and chat with you about whatever. And if you've never been to a
Yeah.
WordCamp before, there's a lot upcoming on the calendar. Go to wordcamp.org, click to see the calendar of events and I think it's
Yeah.
called the schedule of camps or something, but you can't miss it. And maybe you'll find an event near you or near enough to you that you can travel to. I promise you, getting involved in the community part of things makes working in WordPress so much easier, because having that network of people you can ask questions to is just invaluable.
Yes. Ideas to make your businesses more profitable, ideas to streamline processes, new ways of dealing with clients,
Yeah.
new ways of dealing with a WordPress technical issue. The number of positive impacts that you'll get from just commuting with. I know people who are developers who didn't get trained as a developer, but they are developers because they came to a community event, even a meetup, and asked questions, and
Mm-hmm.
they became developers, and a lot of them have really profitable careers because the community lifted them up. And I see it time and time again. And it's not like, okay, well, Michelle, you've been doing this, what, like 8 years? Like forever?
WordPress.
I,
I've been in
yeah.
WordPress
Well,
11
yeah,
years,
going to
but
WordCamps. Yeah.
WordCamp since
Yeah.
2015.
And I've only been in it since 18. So we sound like we've been around forever, but we
We
had a first
haven't.
WordCamp too.
Yep.
And um neither of us are, the founders of WordPress. We just are here. We've been around a long time. It seems like we've been, but there's people who've been around a lot longer. And there's people who are going to come to their first WordCamp at WordCamp Rochester or WordCamp
Yep.
Atlanta that's coming up. And that'll be their first WordCamp. And you just sit down next to someone and ask them how they use WordPress. And because you'll be surprised, you think you're the only one that's doing it in a certain way. And then you're like, oh, me too. Or, oh, that's really interesting. Never thought about that. Just that's my icebreaker question. How do you use WordPress?
Yep. Same.
And you will find friends, lifelong friends.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
that's my
Absolutely.
advice.
It takes the village. It turns out our village is really big and global, and I love it.
Yes. Yes. Very cool.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for listening. If you're out there listening to us ramble and exude and be excited about what we've just experienced, we're also really, really tired. So I think we're probably both ordering pizza tonight for dinner and hitting the hay early, because we are actually working again this week already. So, but we want to hear from
Back
you.
at it.
So, message us, DM us, whatever. Give us a thumbs up. We love you. You're our community. So, thank you. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
This has been WP Motivate with Kathy Zant and Michelle Frechette. To learn more or to sponsor us, go to WPMotivate.com.